Tyler James Robinson.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Robinson.
Every major case has two stories, the one written in headlines and the one hidden between the lines. The Charlie Kirk case has been no exception. From the very beginning, the name Tyler Robinson has dominated the narrative. He was arrested, charged, and ultimately confessed to playing a central role. But now, new discussions have emerged, raising a troubling question: was Robinson ever the true center of this case? Or was he simply the distraction that kept eyes away from something or someone else? This week, commentator Candace Owens ignited fresh debate by suggesting that the FBI's actions surrounding the case may not be as straightforward as they appear. She described their role as suspicious, even unsettling, leaving many to wonder whether the agency's behavior pointed to oversights, hidden motives, or something more complex. Tonight, we're going to examine those claims with a clear lens. We'll separate facts from speculation, rhetoric from reality, and evidence from assumption. Because in a case where emotions run high and theories spread faster than facts, one question remains larger than the rest. If Robinson was the distraction, then who or what was the real focus all along? What do you think? Is the case moving forward carefully, or is progress being slowed by procedural delays? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and where you're watching from. To stay updated on every development, subscribe now and turn on notifications, so you stay informed as new updates become available. This is Detective Max, and together we will stay on top of the facts. Candace Owens' main argument centers on the FBI's role in the Charlie Kirk case. She suggests that their actions, or in some cases their inaction, raise questions that deserve closer attention. But before we accept or dismiss these claims, we need to hold them against the evidence. So, what exactly is she alleging? Owens points to unusual timing in how the FBI became involved, suggesting that certain details were either withheld from the public or revealed in ways that seemed incomplete. She raises the possibility that investigative choices may have been inconsistent, even selective, in how information was shared. Now, here's where we separate speculation from substance. Are these points supported by verifiable documents, sworn testimony, or official filings? In some instances, Owens refers to patterns of behavior rather than presenting hard evidence tied directly to the Kirk case. For example, she cites what she describes as a history of questionable actions by the Bureau. But that doesn't necessarily mean those patterns apply here. And that's critical. Without independent confirmation, claims remain just that, claims. They may spark conversation, but they cannot replace verified fact. Court records, investigative reports, and official statements carry a very different weight than commentary, no matter how confident it sounds. This is why caution matters. A case already clouded by speculation can't afford to be further distorted. Separating what's documented from what's opinion isn't just good practice. It's the only way to cut through noise and see what's actually happening. And in the Charlie Kirk case, the noise is louder than ever. When analyzing any public commentary, it's not just the facts that matter, it's the framing. Candace Owens' video uses strong, charged words like bombshell, cover-up, and suspicious acts. These aren't neutral phrases. They're meant to grab attention, stir emotions, and drive home a point before the evidence has even been weighed. This raises an important question: is the language designed to persuade, to inform, or simply to inflame? In high-profile cases like the Charlie Kirk investigation, wording shapes perception. A phrase like bombshell primes an audience to expect shocking revelations, even if what follows is more interpretation than documented fact. Framing also influences where we focus. Tyler Robinson's name often takes center stage, positioned as the figure tied directly to Kirk's death. But when the narrative is built around a single person, other angles can fade into the background. Questions about influence, planning, or whether hidden actors played a role risk being overlooked entirely. That's the power of rhetoric. It can make one element of a case seem like the entire story. Robinson may be the most visible face, but focusing only on him might leave out deeper issues about networks, manipulation, or larger forces at work. And so, as investigators and as viewers, it's essential to ask, are we reacting to the evidence or to the way it has been framed for us? When reviewing commentary, it's not enough to focus on the claims themselves. We also have to consider motivation. Candace Owens is a public figure known for her skepticism of government institutions, including federal agencies. That context matters. It doesn't automatically invalidate her statements, but it does shape the lens through which she views events. Owens' perspective could be influenced by a broader ideological stance, a distrust of centralized authority, and a commitment to exposing what she sees as institutional flaws. This framing appeals to an audience already concerned about government accountability. But while it explains why she raises such alarms, it also introduces the possibility of selective emphasis, highlighting details that confirm suspicion while downplaying those that do not. It's also possible her motivation stems from a search for hidden truths, a desire to ask the uncomfortable questions others may avoid. That in itself can be valuable. Investigators know that breakthroughs often come from following angles others dismissed. Still, a search for hidden meaning can sometimes lean too far into speculation, if not grounded by evidence. And this is the balancing act. Bias and motivation shape delivery, but they do not automatically make claims false, nor do they make them true. They simply remind us to weigh both the messenger and the message with equal care. In the Charlie Kirk case, that distinction is critical. If Tyler Robinson was, as some suggest, more of a distraction than the full picture, then the real danger lies not only in what happened, but in what may still remain hidden. To test the strength of any claim, investigators look for corroboration. Do the statements align with court filings, law enforcement records, or mainstream reporting? That's the test we now apply to Candace Owens' allegations. So far, the official filings in the Charlie Kirk case point squarely at Tyler Robinson as the central suspect. DNA, digital traces, and witness accounts all connect him to the scene. Law enforcement's public stance remains focused. Robinson acted, and prosecutors are pursuing the most serious charges. When we compare that to Owens' claims, the picture shifts. She raises suspicions about FBI behavior, suggesting there may be gaps or inconsistencies in how the case was handled. Yet, at this stage, much of what she presents does not appear in official court documents or verified investigative records. That means her narrative may stand more on interpretation than on independent confirmation. Mainstream coverage has largely echoed the filings. Robinson is the named suspect, and his motive, planning, and digital activity remain under scrutiny. Still, within those same reports, we find quiet echoes of Owens' concern, small acknowledgments that high-profile cases can carry complexities, and that influence, coordination, or hidden actors cannot be ruled out entirely. This is where Robinson's role as a possible distraction re-enters the frame. If public focus stays locked on him alone, other questions may go unasked. Who else had knowledge? Was he influenced, directed, or pressured? Or was he truly acting alone? These uncertainties linger at the edges of both the official record and Owens' sharper rhetoric. And so the challenge remains, separating what has been firmly established in court from what is still under investigation or speculation. From the very beginning, Tyler Robinson became the name everyone knew. His arrest came quickly, his charges were severe, and prosecutors built their case with confidence. On the surface, the story seemed clear. One man, one motive, one crime. But the speed of that focus raises a deeper question. Was Robinson simply the easiest person to pin down, the most visible actor in a much larger chain? Or was he the intended distraction, a figure placed at the forefront, while other influences remained hidden in the shadows? Investigators have long understood that crimes of this scale are rarely isolated. People can be pressured, manipulated, or influenced without fully realizing it. If Robinson was used, whether through ideology, coercion, or emotional exploitation, then the bigger story is not about his guilt alone, but about who, if anyone, stood behind him. To be clear, speculation is not evidence, but the question itself matters. If the focus on Robinson blinded investigators or the public to other connections, then the narrative may be incomplete. And in cases like this, incompleteness is dangerous. Because if Robinson was indeed a distraction, then the real forces, the planners, influencers, or silent beneficiaries, may have never faced the light of day. In any public commentary, delivery can be as telling as the content itself. Candace Owens presents her arguments with conviction, dramatic pauses, a charged tone, and language designed to stir urgency. This style commands attention, but it also raises the need for caution. Emotional appeal has power. It can make an audience feel that what they are hearing must be true, even before evidence has been weighed. But as investigators, we must ask, does the delivery match the documentation? That's where the red flags come in. First, unnamed sources. Any claim tied to anonymous voices is harder to verify, and while not automatically false, it requires additional scrutiny. Second, correlation framed as causation. When one event is linked to another with the assumption that one caused the other, without proof of connection. Third, a reliance on dramatic presentation, rather than factual grounding. A strong delivery does not replace hard evidence. To be clear, these red flags do not prove Owens wrong. They simply highlight the responsibility of separating what feels compelling from what can be independently confirmed. In a case already burdened by speculation, that line is critical. Because if the audience is swayed more by tone than by evidence, Robinson's role as a distraction may become even more effective, ensuring that the real questions remain hidden behind the noise. Candace Owens has cast her spotlight on the FBI. Tyler Robinson has confessed, placing himself at the center of Charlie Kirk's death. But the question lingers, was Robinson the entire story, or merely the distraction, while something larger, more complex, and still hidden remained in the background? At this point, we deal with allegations, interpretations, and unanswered questions. Until hard evidence surfaces, speculation must remain just that, speculation. Yet one fact is undeniable: this case is bigger than one man. The quick focus on Robinson may have brought resolution on paper, but it hasn't erased the shadows surrounding influence, motive, and possible manipulation. For investigators, the challenge is to separate truth from noise, fact from framing. And for the public, the responsibility is to stay alert, asking the questions that keep pressure on the system. Because until every piece is uncovered, one truth remains clear: the story of Charlie Kirk's death is not yet fully written, and the silence around it may be as telling as the confession itself.